All right, welcome back to the Tigers Den podcast. I'm George Wood,
And I'm Joel.
and we're the
Tigers Den podcast.
all right. And so LSU versus Florida coming up this weekend in the morning. It's a 7:00 kickoff. It's college game day in Baton Rouge. It's gonna be a hell of a lot of fun.
It's gonna be freaking awesome, man.
I
I'm
know.
excited.
And we got two really powerhouses coming. LSU versus Florida. It's gonna be awesome. So
Yeah.
we got a few topics that we're gonna break down. So the first one, all right. So in recruiting, Donnell Harris, 4-star, elite defensive end. He's number 4 in the nation. He's a 50 overall recruit. He just dropped his number 2. His list of number 2. It's LSU and A&M. Who do you think's got the edge in that?
Well, I might be a little biased, but I think LSU's gonna get this kid, man. I mean, he's awesome. Our defense needs to get better. I think our front seven in the future, you can tell Coach O, he's really trying to build that front, because you look at Alabama historically, and that's where they build their team, and you know they're kind of the example that you want to follow. Build that front seven. I think it's a great get if we get him, and I'm excited. I can't wait till November 11th when he commits to LSU.
Yeah, and we got Caleb Vaughn 2017. It was a surprise get on National Signing Day, and I watched this kid's highlights. I think he could be the next Caleb Chason. Like, he's so athletic. He gets in the backfield so fast. And I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sick. I can hardly talk right now, but like we had to do a video before LSU versus Florida.
Yeah.
But all right. So another interesting thing is 2021 receiver 5-star at I don't know how to say his first name, Adji something Hall, but he dropped his top 7. LSU's in it, and I think he's leaning towards Clemson, but he's gonna visit LSU pretty soon, and hopefully once he sees Death Valley at
The real Death Valley?
the real Death Valley at night, whenever the crowd's going crazy, I bet that sways his decision a little bit over to LSU. But we never know in recruiting, especially with Zach Evans. He's been everywhere, but I think he might end up here.
I mean, shoot. With them receivers and this offense, this new offense, if I'm a receiver, I'm looking at LSU number 1. I have a feeling that this kid, I mean, you look at the product on the field. If we do what we've been doing against Florida, which I think we will,
Yes.
because you look at this offense, I mean, it's all there. You can hit them across the middle, sideline, Burrows and Sink. I mean, they all look awesome, the receivers. I think that if I was a receiver right now, if I was a 5-star receiver, and we did what I think we're going to do to Florida, you never know. I mean, you look at our class right now with receivers, we're stacked. I mean, this is not just a one-year thing. This offense is set up for at least the next 8 years. I'm being honest.
And let's talk about this offense. We bring in a guy from the Saints, and Joe Brady. We hired Steve Ensminger. He was a tight ends coach. He's been at LSU for forever. And the first year, I mean, we saw pieces and glimpses of it, but we never really knew how good this was going to be. We add Joe Brady this offseason, and it's just a complete turnaround. We've never seen this at an LSU team ever. Like, we're putting up stats that's like in the top of the nation everywhere, from passing to, I mean, just a point scored per game. And I'm just so excited to see what Joe Brady has in store for LSU as a football program.
I mean, when Burrow went in front of the SEC Media Day and said LSU was going to be putting up 40, 50, and 60 against people,
And people laugh.
I didn't believe that. I mean, me personally, and I wanted to believe that. I've just heard over and over, we're going to run the spread, and I've seen toss dive, and run up the middle, I formation. This, I mean, you can't be more excited if you're an LSU fan. I mean, we're putting up freaking 60 on people. We put up 45 on Texas. We out Texas.
And they are a Big Ten school
We out
that
Big Ten, the
scored
Big Ten, man.
60 to 50 points every single game they play. Like, we're going to see that this weekend. Oklahoma versus
And
Texas.
Texas is going to win that football game. You heard it here first.
Yes, and Texas has a very good shot to win
Sam
this football
Elliott
game.
is awesome.
And Jalen Hurts, I love the kid. I love his story. But I mean, I
He
get
has
it.
no problem. No.
He's played in
He's fantastic.
in the Iron Bowl. He's fantastic, but I just what I saw personally from the Texas defense is they're legit. Like they have playmakers that can go out there on the field, compete with number 4 Oklahoma, and I think they can get the job done. That's just me.
I mean, in Big 12, there's always, like last year you saw Texas beat Oklahoma. With the offenses, it's just whoever gets the most stops. And I feel like Jalen Hurts, I have more confidence in Hurts, but I feel like Texas's defense can get a stop before Oklahoma. I don't care. I know that Oklahoma's defense is better this year for sure,
Yes.
but I mean, being better this year than a historically terrible Oklahoma team on defense last year, it's still not a great defense. I mean,
Yes.
LSU's defense has been struggling, but our defense, the whole nation would take our defense over Oklahoma.
Yeah, and so as you mentioned LSU's defense, I kind of get mad whenever I see comments about people saying LSU's defense is horrible this year. You have to consider all the injuries that we have taken along the way in the offseason during Texas because it was such a hard-fought game. We lost Rashad Lawrence, one of the best D linemen in the SEC, and Glenn Logan, and Glenn Logan, who without a doubt is going to play in the NFL he's to have a really good career, and we lost K'Lavon Chaisson, one of the nation's best edge rushers, and we are starting to get healthy. We're starting to get those guys back. And Terrace Marshall, he's a part of the three-headed monster that we have with him, Jefferson, and Jamar Chase. I love Jamar Chase. But anyway, Terrace is practicing again, so teams better look out. Our defense is getting healthy, and it's going to be a year to remember.
I mean, I see like Georgia fans talk about after they beat Notre Dame, all I saw was LSU's defense gave up whatever against Vanderbilt. Yeah, they said their defense gave up 38, which is
It was actually 24.
Which isn't true because our offense gave up 14, including a Miles Brennan pick six.
Which
off of
off
roughing
a
the passer.
targeting.
I don't think it was targeting.
It
I
could have
think
been
was roughing.
targeting.
Yeah,
It could have
I
gone
agree.
either way.
It should have been a flag.
Yeah.
But, I mean, when you're missing your entire defensive line, except for Tyler Shelvin, who's a nose tackle.
Oh.
Granted, he's awesome,
I love him.
but he's a nose tackle.
And
So
he
you're
can't-
missing Rashard Lawrence. Rashard Lawrence is a dog, man.
And he's a leader on the team.
Yeah, that's true.
They're-
If he could just stay on the field.
They're putting a lot of youngsters out there on the line, like Justin Thomas. I love Justin Thomas.
Yeah,
he's gonna be a
improving
great flavor.
a lot.
He's gonna be a great player. He's fast off the line.
Even Neil Farrell looks
yes.
good, man.
Yeah, and they said that he's gonna get the start this week.
They're
Which-
improving depth for sure on that D-line, which is important because, I mean, you saw at the beginning of the season that pass rush was not there, and they need to be there. They were there the first two games, but after the Texas game with all the injuries,
Yes.
it's just non-existent.
All right, another topic is Damone Clark from Southern Lab. He's been playing his ass off. I'm loving how he's playing. He's so fast. He's not afraid to come up and pop you. He reminds me a little bit of Devin White, just his instincts. I think if he gets a little bit more muscle and mass on him, I think he could be a really special player.
I would hold off on the Devin White comparison.
Well, yeah, I mean,
I would say he's more like Quan, which is nothing wrong with Quan Alexander.
Ooh.
He was a dog. Clark, I mean, it's just, if he gets to you, you're getting wrapped up. You're going
yeah.
to the ground. And the LSU defense, granted, they improved off that on the bye week like they said they would, which I was impressed with because that was a worry for me,
Yes.
tackling. But Clark had no problems tackling all year. And against Georgia Southern, again, when you had to play discipline against a triple option attack, that not many people know, that's an elite triple option attack. They almost upset some people.
yeah, we held in the 3 points, wasn't it?
It was 3
Yeah.
and under 100.
3
yards
points.
behind.
And they were 10-2 team last year.
Granted, they're,
Yeah.
FCS.
Yeah, but I mean, so I'm really liking this year, and we got even more topics for you guys. All right, so they said that Cordell Flott was out earlier this week, but now they're saying that he's gonna play a little bit. I personally am a fan of Cordell. I think he's a great player. He's a true freshman, but he's no Derek Stingley, and that's hard to ask of anyone because Stingley is playing like a senior. He's playing better than any DB in the country or right up there with any DB that you put him up against. He's going to be so special. But Cordell Flott, he's playing, and they can keep Christian Fulton in that nickel spot that they put him in last week versus Utah State. I like that a lot because he has the instincts to come up and pop people like he loves to do in practice. And with Cordell Flott playing, it adds even more stuff that Christian Fulton can do. And I personally love that. So it's great that we're getting him back on the field.
I just think the only thing Flott needs to improve on is his instincts.
Oh, yeah.
You see it every week he plays, and he's giving up a long play on the sideline. He should needs to, sharpen up. I mean, he's a freshman.
He's a true freshman.
He's a freshman.
He's going to be
That's
so
why,
good.
in my opinion, I think that I'd be safer running Fulton back outside and putting Vincent in the nickel. But, I mean, LSU knows his best.
I think that was an experiment last week with Fulton in the nickel.
I thought he looked good.
And another person you got to look at is Cameron Lewis. He's been playing good, too. He's finally getting his shot. I would consider putting him at nickel just to see what he does. And
I like Fulton at the nickel because nowadays what you're seeing is a lot of teams put their best receiver in the slot because it's easy to throw that slant out to the slot. A lot of teams like that. Jefferson, we do it. I mean, so nowadays you don't want to have your worst corner at nickel because they'll be going against number one receiver. So I get the move, and Fulton's very physical, so I like him playing at that nickel. I thought Vincent played really good last week, and I would like to see him back in, but,
All right, now, Michael Divinity, he's back from his injury that he sustained in Texas. Was it Texas?
Yeah.
In Texas. We thought it was going to be a lot worse than it really was. It ended up just being a little sprain somewhere in his leg. But he's back. He's on the starting lineup this week. I like that a lot because, one, not only is he a good player, he's also a very good leader on the field. He's a very good pass rusher, and he can cover. So I think having Divinity back there in the starting lineup, I think that gives us a huge plus, especially playing a very, very talented team like Florida. So I think that's good to have back this week, for sure.
I mean, as a team, having a guy like Michael Divinity who's very experienced, I mean, you feel safe, a lot safer with Michael Divinity than without. I mean, that pass rush, you got to find something. I feel like, whenever Caleb Vaughn needs a blow, you go put him Divinity. He's going to get you. Divinity's awesome. I mean, he's been there. I feel like, we were a lot better with him than without, for sure. There's no question.
Now let's talk about Jamar Chase and the receivers. Jamar Chase, I knew from the moment we signed him that he was going to be a special player. I knew he was going to be one of those that could be up in the top to being as good as Jarvis,
Odell.
as Jarvis and Odell. Like I knew that, and I knew that whenever we got Terrace Marshall at a Parkway, I knew that.
I was high on Terrace.
So,
so high on Terrace.
Now that we have a quarterback in Joe Burrow that can get them the ball, it has been so much fun to watch. Jamar has the best hands I've ever seen in a college football receiver at LSU and pretty much anywhere. Like, his hands are so soft, but his hands are so strong. He very rarely drops a ball. He can go up and moss you like we saw it versus Texas.
He's on. You got Moss on ESPN, baby.
I just love it so much.
He should have been on there like 3 or 4 times. He does that every week.
I know.
I think, my bad to cut you off. I think that could be said for all the LSU receivers. I mean,
you look at Jefferson.
Last season, I mean, as an LSU fan, it definitely had to frustrate you when Burrow throws to someone wide open and they're dropping the ball. So they brought in Joe Brady. You saw the drills on Instagram. If you haven't, go check it out. He put them through some heavy drill. They was catching how many balls a day?
10,000 balls all right. So in one summer, every receiver on LSU's team caught 10,000 balls using the jug machines all summer long. They would work after hours because that's how committed they were to actually be in this offense. Because every receiver in the nation wants to be in an offense that we're running right now. I don't care who you are. even the running backs, they get balls thrown to them even more than the normal spread. Like, you look at this new offense, I mean, the amount of work that the receivers have put in, it's not going unnoticed. Like, we got to give props to the coaching staff, to Mickey Joseph, to Coach Orgeron himself for bringing in Joe Brady, because we never heard of him before. Like, I didn't know who he was. I was like, oh, it's just another analysis. But, like, we had Jerry Sullivan last year. He was a great dude and everything, but I think he was a little bit more, like, Les Miles' age receiving. But now that we brought in a new generation coach like Joe Brady, it's insane. All right, I'm just saying a little thing. I think he's going to be the OC, the next offensive coordinator at OSU.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I can bet on it right now.
But I think you should pay him head coaching money for sure. You got to keep Joe Brady.
Keep him. If not, he'll go in.
This offense, I mean, everybody, he's going to be a hot name on the
NFL charts.
Yeah.
NFL teams will want to have him. And we're basically running the Saints offense. So I'm just saying, if the Saints can be able to trade up, or if Joe Burrow falls in the draft, that's not going to happen. But if he does, the Saints have to capitalize and get their quarterback. Since Drew Brees, if we win the Super Bowl this year, I think Drew Brees is retired. We got to get that quarterback in the future. And it would be so cool to see Joe Burrow go to the Saints, just in my opinion.
Sure. I think the biggest coach on the coaching staff that you have to thank is Coach O. I mean, Coach O had a reputation for being kind of like Les Miles. They were both stubborn, hard-headed. And I feel like Coach O finally said, after the Alabama game, you saw the offense open up a lot.
Yes.
Because you knew that formula is not going to work against Alabama. When you run the ball so many times and you're not balanced, Alabama is great at stopping the run. Okay? They have trouble when they get in those shootouts. I mean, you saw last year with Clemson and Oklahoma even. Oklahoma almost came back at the end. But I think LSU finally realized what they had to do. I mean, the fans were calling for it for years. And mad props to Coach O for finally, finally changing this offense and
getting us
take
out of
us
the West Miles
into the 21st century.
Yes, 100%. And I mean, I've always believed in Coach O, but now I believe in him even more. He still didn't get the props that he deserves. LSU fans, if he has one bad game, people want to fire him, and I just don't understand that. Even with Coach Aranda, he's one of the best DCs in the nation, and after our defense has been playing bad due to injuries, and people don't realize how hot it was at the Texas game too on that turf. They measured it to be 120 degrees on the turf that night, and it was the first big game of the year. People are wanting to fire Aranda already after little stuff like that. That's so stupid.
I don't understand that one, but
all right. So Tyler Shelvin, and I'm loving this kid. He had a few conditioning concerns whenever he first stepped on campus. He was a little over 400 pounds, but
big boy.
He lost so much weight. He's playing so light on his feet right now. I'm loving the way he's playing. What do you think?
He's in fantastic shape for a nose tackle. I mean, you should look at his arm. This dude's a massive guy. I mean,
he's big.
It's going to be hard for them guards and centers to block him. He's just so big. And you've seen it so far. He's getting pressure and up the middle. And you look at LSU's defensive line, don't get it twisted. They're set up to start the pressure up the middle so that Caleb Vaughn has a free path on the outside. That's why you got Glenn Logan, Shard Lawrence. You got the big bodies on the line, especially with Shelvin. And when all these guys come back, which I'm pretty sure they're all back for Florida. I saw Logan posted on Twitter yesterday he's coming back. So I think that you're going to see Tyler Shelvin's a huge part of that because he's going to take up two blockers. You can't block him one-on-one. I mean, you've seen him this season. He's incredible. So that D-line, they're big, physical. You know, they put that pressure up the middle so you have your edge rusher off the edge coming free, basically. So I'm excited. I think we're going to get a lot of sacks. I do not think that Kyle Trask is going to be as easy as people think. They think that we're going to give up a lot of points. We're just going to outscore them. I don't believe that. I think it's going to be dominations on offense. I think our defense is going to bend, don't break, and we're going to play pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
I'm excited, man. I'm fired up.
I'm so excited. All right, a few more topics, and then and we're gonna let y'all go. All right, so LSU's offensive line, a huge leap forward from last year.
Dear God, yes.
And we got a Lloyd Cushenberry back, unbelievable, probably a top 5 center in the nation. He's so light on his feet. He blocks so well. His football IQ is insane. But we're finally starting to get Sadiq Charles back to where he was his freshman year. He's starting to ball out. He's back from a 1-game suspension last week, so that's going to be very key. And being able to beat Florida, and we got Ed Ingram back he is reinstated. That is probably the biggest thing that has happened this year for LSU football, other than getting Joe Brady. He's back. He's going to be a force to reckon with. We also got Austin Deculus back. He, in my opinion, he has made the biggest leap of anyone in the offensive line. He's not false starting every single play like he was last year, and he's playing out of his mind last year. He's given up a few hits on Burrow, but other than that,
I don't like to see Jambalaya Joe getting hit, baby. I'm telling you.
yeah.
But I think this offensive line, it's also to be said, this offense is a lot better for O-linemen too, because you don't have to sit there and block.
You're getting the ball out the hands
like
fast.
that. He's a lot of quick game stuff. Burrow's getting rid of the ball fast. I mean, it's good for everyone. But I will say one thing. I take this, so far, everything that's happened this season with the O-line, take that with a grain of salt, because again, I need to see it against Florida. I need to see my guys put in work against Florida. Because if they can keep this up against that front,
Yes.
good luck. Because LSU's unstoppable there. That's our main concern, is the offensive line. They look good so far.
Yep.
If they can hold against Florida, we're going, man. We're going.
All right, special teams. I'm
Best unit in
loving
the country.
Cade York, true freshman out of Texas. Man, he is just balling out. I mean, I think he missed one PAT.
Missed one field goal, I think. Or no, he did miss a PAT.
In one PAT.
Right.
He hadn't missed a field goal yet this year.
My bad.
I think he could be one of the biggest surprises this year that could potentially beat Alabama, because Alabama never has good field goal kickers. They brought in the number 1 kicker in the nation, and he got benched for a walk-on kicker. I love seeing that. But also, like, with guys who go unnoticed, like Avery Atkins, he's a non-scholarship dude
weapon
that we brought on. Every single kick he does, every kickoff, it's out of bounds. Every single one.
It's not out of bounds. It's a touchback. That's
touchback.
Gamble. That's
Touchback.
Gamble who's there. But
He's amazing.
and the ones that aren't touchback, they return him to the 15-yard. He's a weapon. Don't get it twisted. That kid is just as influential as anybody on the team.
And I don't know if you
I
saw.
love Coach O for bringing in that dude. I love Avery Atkins.
And I don't know if you saw last year. He recovered that fumble.
Did he?
Yes. No, he
recovered it.
He literally went right in. He wasn't scared at all. He went right in and he grabbed that
dog
football.
in him.
And he played safety in high school. He's got that.
Awesome.
He's got those instincts from just a football perspective person. I'm loving it. But all right, the topic of the year, Mr. Joe Burrow himself.
Best quarterback in the country.
I'm telling you.
Heisman.
He's top 2 in the Heisman. I think after we play Bama, I think he should solidify himself.
If we beat Alabama, there's no one else to give it to.
There's no
You're
one
gonna
else.
give it to Jalen Hurts for beating Texas?
And that would be 3 Oklahoma quarterbacks in a row. And that
I
just
think
doesn't
that's
look
hurting
good.
his Heisman candidates
Yes.
more than anything. It's because you're going to look at it and say, okay, this is the system. Yeah, but Joe Burrow, I mean, you look at this, he's in sync with all the receivers. He can read the defense. Father was a defensive coordinator, obviously.
Yes.
He knows every That's one thing with Tua that's a concern. Tua Tagovailoa has trouble reading complicated, complex defense. Saw it last year against Clemson, against Georgia. They put Hurts in the but
Against the Citadel. I remember last year against that triple option team. And I'm just loving Joe Burrow. And they call him Joey Buckets around the LSU's campus. But
Joe
all right,
Cool.
guys. I think it's time to wrap it up. We will see y'all next week whenever we take on Mississippi State at Mississippi State. and I hope we shut them cowbells up. I hate those cowbells
Yeah.
in Starkville, but all right, keep expecting these videos every week, and we'll see y'all soon at the Tigers Den podcast.
And we might be recapping the game pretty soon.
I mean, I think it's gonna be a good outcome. See y'all.
Oh, yeah.
All right, see y'all.